Alrighty, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on the podcast and welcome back to Bucci Radio. Today I have a special guest by the name of Travis S.
The biggest tip I have for anyone creating YouTube videos, find what inspires you. Music is not going to be that for everyone. Actually, I just recorded a clip today. I was urging people to find what inspires you because for me, it's location, people, and music. Those are the three things I know are going to inspire my videos.
Travis, do you remember when we first met?
Yeah, it was at the Arnold the first time I actually met you.
Mm-hmm. It was at the Arnold.
At the PES booth.
I remember I had my little Sony vlog camera and you had your big tripod and your DSLR and your mic. And I was like, this guy's got to be legit because I had never watched your videos before then. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, I remember knowing you because you're on the team PES and we were part of the same supplement company. And I remember seeing you and you were just so happy and energetic. And I was like, I have to watch this guy's videos. And from there on out, I decided to start watching your videos and I just have not missed one since. They're very good.
And now you walk around with the same obnoxious setup that I do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And we just look obnoxious together if we're ever together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel and what you do on there. How you kind of got started doing YouTube and what it has progressed to now.
Sure. So I think really the reason I started YouTube was just because I wanted to get more involved within fitness some way or somehow because what I do full time as my career is much different than that. So I wanted to kind of get into the fitness community and I was watching a lot of YouTube fitness channels at the time. And I just thought, this is something that I could do. It was something that I was interested in. I had a passion for it. So really I was finishing up with graduate school and I just so happened to just start up the YouTube channel, started throwing up random workouts. I think that's kind of how everybody gets started. And then it kind of just progressed from there. And since then it kind of started as a way to really, when I first started, I was looking to build my communication skills. So with what I do in my profession, I have to do presentations. I have to get in front of people and speak, which is something I've never been overly comfortable with. So what I found is if I can talk in front of a camera, I can talk almost in front of anyone. At least it's helped definitely, both verbal and nonverbal communication skills. So it's kind of progressed from there and it's really turned into something that I've fallen in love with. Now it's more than just, I would say, a fitness channel, which is what it started out. And now I would say there's still, that aspect in there. And that's where a large portion of my audience is coming from. People that are in love with this lifestyle. But I really tried to revolve the channel around the actual lifestyle. I mean, outside of the gym. So showing people that you can sustain it in a way where it doesn't have to take over your entire life, which is why you see a lot of the food challenges or a lot of the food videos, because I found kind of as the channel grew that that's what a lot of people were focused on and that's what drew a lot of interest. So I guess that's kind of where I built my niche. And then since then it's kind of incorporated a little bit more career advice, vlog type of videos, and really just trying to bring people inside of my life to some extent.
Right. Now that's really interesting that you mentioned the communication skills and how it has changed the way that you're able to interact with people both in person and in your profession. So tell us a little bit about what you do for your day-to-day job.
So I am in the corporate world. I'm an accountant, and you wouldn't think that you'd have to have really any type of communication skills. Some people think of it as you're just sitting behind a computer and plugging away numbers. But what I do is actually very interactive with a lot of different people. So being extremely introverted, being very shy naturally, I found that that's when I look at leadership positions within not only my company, but any business that you go into, you have to be to some extent, a little bit more outgoing, able to kind of verbalize what's going on in your mind and be able to voice your opinions a little bit better. And be able to get in front of a group of people and being able to speak is always a good skill set to have. And it's nothing that I've been blessed with. Definitely doesn't come naturally to me. Still to this day, I've been doing YouTube for over 2 years now, and I still struggle to turn on the camera and talk to it. Find myself, stuttering over my words, and just sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to talk. Being an introvert, you don't always want to speak to anybody. So it's been, as far as personal development goes, it's been the number one thing that I've done. So I would say I have no regrets about starting up the channel.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing to hear because a lot of people are worried about starting up their own YouTube channel because they're scared that they don't have good enough public speaking skills, their life isn't interesting enough, anything like that. And for you, someone who was never really good at public speaking and you have a normal corporate job, that's an amazing inspiration for people who may actually be in your position who are interested in starting a YouTube channel because they have those fears about themselves, and you're showing them that you can absolutely do that regardless of what your circumstances are. You could just have to get creative and just personal development.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always make the argument that everyone should have a YouTube channel. I mean, everyone's got a story. I mean, not everyone has the interest of putting themselves out there, obviously, but what I found is I've only reaped rewards videos. And the people that I talk to, even if they don't make videos anymore, they still were glad that they did it. It's a great experience. Not only the skills that you pick up, the people that you're able to help, and the people that you meet. I mean, the only reason I'm sitting here right now is because of YouTube, which is crazy. You know, some of my best friends, I always tell people, if you look through my most recent text messages, I guarantee you 80% of them are going to be people that I've met from YouTube.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same with me. It's been a long time coming, but YouTube and making relationships like that has helped expand my life and expand yours as well. And just like having those networking relationships with people has just made life so much more fun and interesting and enjoyable for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy to think all the different people that you meet from different areas, from different walks of life. And it's so limiting to think of like your network as just, you know, within 30 miles of you. When you think about like, that's who most people communicate with. But what the online world has really done is opened it up to, I network with people not even in the same country. And it's amazing. Like the fact that I just flew the entire way across the country just to like spend a weekend. I mean, it's insane, but it's definitely one of the rewards that you reap from putting yourself out there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Making those relationships and networking with people is one of the biggest benefits of YouTube. So aside from that, what is your favorite part about YouTube? Like making the videos, I know that you're really creative and you enjoy putting that time into the editing process. So tell us a little bit about your editing process.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. So I guess recently in the last year or so, since I've actually learned to edit videos a little bit better, that's where my passion really lies. Like I said, sometimes I don't want to turn on the camera, but I always want to edit something. I always want to tell a story. I always want to put something together. When I think through the process, I always think, what is the end user going to want to see? And I watch a ton of YouTube videos and I take notes on, hey, I don't like this. You know, I get bored watching this. So I try to adjust based off of what I like and what I think other people are going to enjoy as well. And also I try to put my own spin on things. I like to have certain things that people can kind of tie back to my channel, whether that be something food related or whether that be a certain editing thing that I do, throwing in, I guess, like random music and like music that's like relevant to the video. Different things that people would know me for in my channel, and really just trying to make it
like the dancing food.
The dancing food,
that's
exactly.
The biggest thing on Travis's channel. If you guys have watched his channel, you have seen his dancing food, and it's probably like the best part of the videos.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Stuff that I have fun with, stuff that people enjoy. What I found is people really do appreciate the small little additions and the time that you put into it. If they're just the average viewer, they're probably not going to understand the little intricacies of every single edit that you're putting in there. But I think overall, like once the package comes together, people just really realize, hey, you're putting a ton of time and effort into that. And by cutting down on what I call like the fluff, the stuff that doesn't need to be in the video, the stuff that may take us creators 10 or 15 minutes to, you know, cut down, but it'll save them 30 seconds, 15 seconds. That's huge because that adds up over a long period of time.
Oh my gosh, people don't realize how much goes into the editing process. Like how long does it take you to edit one video?
Minimum 4 hours to do like a simple 10-minute video. And then if it's like a more complex type of video, I'll spend maybe upwards of 10 hours. But I'll say I'm probably not the most efficient person out there. I'm still learning. So
yeah, absolutely.
But I would say for me, it's something that once I sit down, it's something that I kind of just like go for. And it's like, I can't like stop. I can't get to like a certain point and just like, oh, I'll come back tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, just got to sit there and hammer it out.
Yeah, I know. I think that's one of like the coolest things about your channel is you can really see all of the effort that you put into the videos and all the edits, and you add in the song title of the, like even the 10-second piece of the song that you add in, like you add in the title. And like, I think that really helps with the viewers to connect to you, and you can really see the effort that you put in. Can you talk a little bit about that taking a really long time for you, but you're also doing your job from 9 to 5? Is that like what your job typically you say your job for?
So typically it's more of like a 7 to 5, 7 to 6.
Yeah. See, that's even. And you get in your training and everything and the editing. So how do you balance it all?
It can be challenging, but really, you know, you've probably all heard it before where people will say, you know, you make time for the things that are meaningful to you. And I mean, if it is that important to you, you'll make time for it. And it is a very time consuming hobby. Training in itself is a time consuming hobby. And I think that's what I hear most from some people when I'm like, oh, you should start a channel. And they're like, I don't have time. Which really, when I hear that, it's like, you just don't prioritize it, which is fine. You prioritize other things, and that's perfectly fine. It's, I guess, to each their own. And I would say most people that work like the typical job, the office job, it's a little bit more challenging because you really are blocked off for those hours. So obviously I can't do anything YouTube related. And when I'm at my job, you know, I'm 100% there. And when I'm doing YouTube, I'm 100% YouTube. So really, I think what's cool about it is that I really love what I do for a living, my career, but I also really love YouTube. So they kind of balance each other out. Cause sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm sick of editing videos. Like something keeps going wrong. I'm going back to work. And you know, at work, you have those days where you're just like, oh my gosh, Sally's over here, going
Sally's
crazy.
over here.
It's just Sally. I can't handle Sally right now, so I'm going back to editing my video. So I love it because I feel like there's a lot of people out there like me that work that office job, and they can kind of relate with that, and I can kind of give them tips and tricks, because I think it's an excuse when people will say, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym because I'm working all the time. Well, everyone's working all the time. I mean, we all work. Doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter if you're in your living room or if you're in your office. I mean, we all have jobs. We all have to make money some way, somehow. But the fact is, when it comes to health, there's no reason, and there's, in my opinion, no excuse not to prioritize that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The whole making it a priority thing is really important for people to realize that you can make excuses, or you can say that you don't have enough time. You can say that you don't have enough money or whatever. You don't have a nice enough camera to start a YouTube channel, or you don't have an X, Y, and Z to do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, it's really just about prioritizing it. So you said that you truly love your accounting job, right?
Yeah.
So how important do you think it is to be relatable to people in terms of having that accounting job? And then also another question stemming from that, talking about being a YouTuber full time. Is that something that you consider, or what do you think about people who do YouTube full time? Because you do have that normal 9-to-5 job that you really enjoy. So I think you have an important perspective on that.
Yeah, I think the relatability factor is something I can definitely leverage for certain audiences. And I get emails and messages a lot, people saying that it's very relatable, and that's kind of why they come to the channel. That being said, I think people will try to give people that do YouTube full time like a bad rap. Like, oh, that's not a real job. When I get to see both sides, and I get to see what goes into it. I get to see people like you. I get to see other friends that I have within the fitness industry doing this full time. And I'll tell everyone, and like I said, I do both, and I can tell you the people that are doing YouTube full time or social media, whatever, it's a lot of times more of a grind than it is if you're just sitting at a job and kind of being stagnant, because that's easy to do as well. If you're just at a job and you're not trying to progress, and you're just doing day in, day out, not taking any advancements, not getting promoted at all, that's the easy way out, in my opinion. There's nothing easy about being an entrepreneur. There's nothing easy about putting yourself out there and taking risks. So I respect both. I think what I pride myself on is not to like come off the wrong way, but I've excelled in my corporate job, and that's something I take very seriously. I don't put YouTube in front of that, because I am very passionate about what I do career-wise, and I don't know what I want to do long-term. I've not really considered YouTube full time at this point, just because I like the balance that I have right now. I really like going into work all day and then kind of having my nighttime hobby, and then in the morning I get to go to the gym. So it's a great cycle that I have right now, and we'll see what the future holds. Obviously I'm young, I'm single, so it's easy. Like I always tell people, like I have it easy right now. I have a lot of time. I have, until I have kids. And
How old are you?
I'm only 27.
You're only 27.
Yeah, so I got time.
See, a lot of 27-year-olds say, I'm 27, I'm old already.
I mean, I got gray hair, but that's all right.
No. But I think that's really cool. Does it kind of like scare you or anything of not knowing about what the future holds, or just not knowing where you want to go in life?
No, it doesn't. Back in the day, yes. I used to be the type of person that had to have every single thing planned out. Like if I didn't know what I was doing tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I would just lose my mind. I had to have a schedule for everything. And what I found is life has thrown me so many curveballs and just like so many unexpected things, but it always works out. And that's kind of what I try to tell people is you don't need to know where you're going as long as you're taking steps to go and like improve yourself, to go in the right direction. Because I guarantee you that it's not going to be linear. You're going to be, you're going to have your ups, your downs. But at the end of the day, if you're putting in the work and you're doing the things necessary that require you to progress, then you're going to be fine. And there's going to be different opportunities pop up along the way. And I always tell people, if someone told me I would be making YouTube videos, if someone told me that 5 years ago, like, you are crazy. I will never make a YouTube video. And here I am. And it's probably my biggest passion at this point.
That's awesome to hear. So going back to what you said about finding those opportunities and taking those steps in the right direction, are there a few times in your life where you remember specifically, like, this is a step in the right direction? Like, what are those times where you remember saying, like, this is going to be a good idea for me to do, even though it's kind of risky?
So when I was in school and I was like, do I need to go back and get my master's degrees? I don't know. It's going to be a huge financial thing, but I would say after doing it and going through the process, I would tell people that it's not required, but what it allowed me to do was to get out there and network and meet the people that led me into the door of where I'm at now. So kind of getting outside, because I was kind of always like an average student. I'm never going to be like the brainiac of the group. So like kind of having to push myself a little bit harder to get there. So I would say that that's kind of been like the career aspect. And then like YouTube wise, it's been every single thing that I've done has been so far outside of my comfort zone. Like there's been nothing I've been comfortable with. Like going to my first fitness expo, I still remember going to the Arnold and I was just there as a spectator. I had like maybe.
What year was that?
It was 2 years ago, 2 Arnolds ago
Okay.
now. So I had like 5,000 subscribers. Didn't think like anyone would actually know who I was, but I ended up meeting like a few subscribers there and everything. And ended up meeting some other YouTubers. Still to this day, people who I'm friends with, like Maddie Fusaro, who we ended up actually creating a great friendship from that trip. So that's been like things like that, like having to get out there and put myself out there and
Did you go to that alone, the Arnold?
Yeah. So I just went out there and ended up like hanging out with all the guys at the Quest booth, and we had a bunch of fun.
Cool.
So yeah, just kind of getting out there, networking a little bit, establishing those relationships, seeing some people that were subscribed to the channel, which was neat. And I would say since then, being able to like put out videos like within like my personal life, I never like when I started my channel, I think I even have videos like titled like I am not a vlogger, like things like I don't want people inside of my house, I don't want people to know what I'm doing on the weekends, and kind of like
wow, it's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's not. I always wanted it when I started out. I was like, we're gonna be maybe in the kitchen, maybe making a meal, but mostly in the gym, just workouts. And what I found was, it's like, man, this is kind of boring. I mean, we all work out, we know what it is.
Yep.
So, and that's what everyone wanted to see. Well, what do you do on the day to day? And so, I mean, doing that was, oh man, I was terrified. I remember the first time I pulled out a camera in the mall, and I was like, you would have thought I stole something. I was like looking around. I was like,
you were making everybody else feel uncomfortable because you were uncomfortable.
Right. I was like putting my hood up. I was like looking around. I was like, they probably thought I was a criminal. But and still, I mean, it's still nothing that I'm comfortable with. I mean, it's a little bit here and a little
Even
bit.
Though you have a massive tripod and DSLR and microphone set up.
I mean, this thing's ridiculous. Yeah,
it's funny. People definitely stare.
Oh yeah. I think what you learn is not to come off the wrong way. People don't care about you. Like people don't care what you're doing. Really. I mean, I think it's kind of narcissistic in our minds to think, oh, this guy is really worried about me, when they're not. They're just like, oh, look at that weirdo, and then they walk about their day. They never think about you again for the rest of their life. So why are you going to let that affect what you're doing with the things that are going to make you happy and the things that are going to provide a better end result for your viewers?
Yeah, I think that's a huge message, especially like people that are scared to go to the gym for the first time, scared to vlog for the first time, scared to go to an expo. Nobody is looking at you and thinking that you're a weirdo. It's like, even if they are for a split second, everyone else is so wrapped up in their own head and their own thing and going about their own day that they're not really thinking about you and you being weird. So it's a good message to send that putting yourself out there and doing those uncomfortable and scary things is what's going to actually change your life and get you to where you're going to reach your goals.
Right. And since you mentioned going to the gym, and some people, like, I think I didn't know this was a thing. I guess I was always fortunate where it never happened to me. People were like, they're intimidated to go to the gym because they went and they were made fun of. What I remind people of is if someone makes fun of you for going to the gym, they're a loser. Like,
huge loser.
You don't need to worry about that person.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be, what I try to do is like, I'll try to convince them like, hey, if you go to the gym, 20 people might be there. 20 people might be able to see. And the chance of one of those people being like that much of a loser is little. And I've like tried to put myself, like, I've tried yoga when I hurt my back, and I was like, look, I'm going to put this. I looked so stupid. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I'm going to put this up on the channel for at least, 10,000 people I know at least will watch this video, and I'm going to look like an idiot, and I'm just going to put it on the channel so you guys can see, like, it doesn't matter. And if someone's going to judge me based on that, then why would I want to try to impress that kind of person?
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. So, you said that you hurt your back. Tell me a little bit about that and your injury. I know that you're injured right now, and then you've been injured in the past as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I ended up herniating a few discs in my back, which
casual.
Yeah,
just say that so nonchalantly. Just herniated a few discs.
Yeah, which was very unfortunate. I would say I've depended on training for a lot of different things, mostly like mental release, for years and years. I've been doing this since I was like 14 years old. To have gone through that injury recently, where I some days couldn't even get out of bed, was tough. Not really physically. It's funny, people are always worried about losing your gains, and once you get hurt, you automatically stop thinking about your physique, and the only thing you can think about is your performance. Like just being able to walk. Like I remember yesterday when I went out on the pier and ran, and I was like the most liberating feeling ever. It's because I haven't been able to really walk that well in months now. So once you do take it for granted. The injury has set me back, but just kind of staying consistent with physical therapy. Kind of taking the doctor's advice to an extent. I didn't go to like a sports specific doctor, so I was a little weary on some of the recommendations, but just taking it easy, and you realize how big of an impact fitness has in your life once it's taken away like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Having an injury can really make you realize like being grateful for fitness is huge, and having that in your life every single day, something that we definitely take for granted. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in fitness and what was your introduction into it? How long have you been doing it? You said since you were 14?
Yeah, so I started lifting weights probably when I was like ending 8th grade, I got involved in like this personal training program to get ready for basketball.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be some like baller, and obviously that did not happen. But
that picture that you just showed me, what you look like when
we're
you
not
were
going to talk about
in-
that picture.
Okay. No one's ever going to see it because it's a podcast. But Travis used to be a little gangster. Apparently.
Oh my goodness!
we all
Awful.
had our funny stages when we were a kid. I had the emo stage where I was like
Emo, huh?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
yeah. I just was,
I
I
would've
was
taken-
the same person, but I was just going with whatever my friends were doing when I was in middle school.
I would have taken emo over whatever I was doing. But
Whatever. We
that's
just
all right.
as a kid, you kind of just go with whatever your friends are doing at the time.
Right.
But anyways, you were basketball, fitness.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of got started training. And I didn't take it very seriously. I was just doing it to try to get stronger for basketball. I found myself like I was getting stronger, but I was spending so much time at the gym because I started to enjoy it, and I wasn't practicing basketball. So like getting stronger, but my basketball skills were getting worse. So that's kind of when I was like, maybe I should just like work out more than I should actually like concern myself with basketball. But I stuck it out, and I played all 4 years in high school or whatever. But I ended up going to, started out college, and that's the thing to do. When you go to college, everybody works out, and everyone's like, oh, you got to get big to get girls. And
Obviously,
Yeah,
that's how it all starts
right,
for everybody.
Right. It's like, well, if we're going to go to the bars, we have to have the guns hugging the sleeves, right? So, everyone thinks that they're all big and all of that, and everyone starts taking protein shakes, and your parents think you're on steroids and all that.
Preteen.
Yeah. But what I found is I just fell in love with the actual process. And just being able to have that one release. It's like the gym was my hour and a half to not think about anything, especially someone that was always worried about everything. I would say, every little thing in my life, I've been worried about. It's just like I'm a naturally anxious person. Mm-hmm. So being able to go there and just to kind of get away from everything. And then, so I kind of started like in college and just going through, probably like more like bodybuilding type style workouts, got introduced to Lane Norton by some guy I met in the gym, and kind of like got interested in powerlifting a little bit. So I'd say towards the end of my undergraduate career, I started getting into like a power building type of routine, and then started watching more and more YouTube videos. At that time, like Matt Ogus was just taking over, and he was, showing the world all these different things, tracking macros and doing different types of, like Wendler 531, different type of powerlifting routines. So I definitely, I got the powerlifting bug, started training for that pretty seriously once I started in masters. And then kind of just from there, it's been history. So it's been tough with the injury, not knowing that powerlifting is probably not going to be the best thing for me moving forward. But I'd say if that's really the avenue that I want to keep pursuing, then there's definitely a way to get back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Any kind of injury you can recover from, and it's always temporary, and not always temporary, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel as long as you're kind of like focused on like fixing your injury, doing your rehab and everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. I think you're a great example of that. I remember when I was injured, like on the days I couldn't leave my house, like kind of going back and watching your videos with you at the gym with like a cast on and just like all the things you were doing to like improvise and like work around it.
Getting creative.
Yeah. And you have to. And I was like, I remember like thinking, and I think I even made a video on this when like, if I saw myself doing some of the things that I was doing in the gym, I'd be like, what is this guy doing? Because I couldn't like lift a 45-pound plate. So I would load up a machine with like 5 tens because that's all I could lift at the time without bending over. And I'm like, if I was like watching this from the outside, I'd be like, what in the world is this guy up to? And then like pacing around the gym because like walking was one of the few things that would like make my back loosen up. So I would just like,
interesting.
Yeah. So in between a set, I would just be like walking back and forth. People probably think this guy's crazy, but it's just the things that you have to do.
And did you notice that on YouTube, sharing your injury and sharing the things that you were doing, did you notice that other people who have also gone through something similar were able to connect with you and learn from you?
So many people. I was shocked to see how many people have gone through it, especially back injuries and powerlifting, which is still a wide range of my audience is people that are interested in powerlifting. And I think that's just a common injury. And the herniated disc especially, it seems like a lot of us are probably ego lifting a little bit too much. And a lot of this was probably just built up over the years. A lot of probably bad form and poor programming and just pushing myself too much. But it caught up to me. But really, I'm grateful that it didn't ruin my thoughts about powerlifting, and I'm still like in love with it. And really, it could have been so much worse. Like the fact that I was still able to get into the gym most days and at least walk. I mean, it could have been bad. And I think that when I hear other people's stories, when they tell me, hey, they've been bedridden for months, and I was like, wow, I should just be thankful that I can at least get in and do my stretches, and at least I can go to physical therapy and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of like having the YouTube platform and sharing that with people, and then seeing the comments and being able to interact with people through the comment section, hearing other people's stories, it reminds you that you're not the only person that's ever been injured in the whole entire world, you know? Like, it's easy to kind of just get wrapped up in your own head, but it's cool that YouTube, you're able to share with people like your story, your injury prevention potential, like platform for informational potential injury prevention, stuff like that. And then having people be able to see that and be inspired by you to do training while they're injured or like something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's almost like learn from my mistakes.
Right.
There's obviously things I did not do correctly. So I try to outline those for people and just kind of give them a list of things. Hey, before you go down the same route that I did, try to take these precautions and do some prehab so you don't end up in the same situation as me.
Right. So can you tell us a little bit about your last powerlifting meet? Because you did do a meet before you got injured and it went pretty well.
Yeah, thankfully I was convinced to do a powerlifting meet, which I'm very happy that I did before I got injured. It was my first powerlifting meet. And I mean, I didn't have too high of expectations. I didn't know exactly how it was going to go. Like I said, I think I'd been to a powerlifting meet, but it was a long time ago. So I didn't even know like what the process was exactly. So kind of just showed up and went with a buddy that I met off YouTube, came in from your home state of Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. And, I hit PRs on all my lifts, went 9 for 9, I believe. I did 8 or 9 or 9 for 9. So I was overall happy with the experience and kind of how we talked about yesterday. What I love about powerlifting is the people that you meet are just so supportive. I mean, the audience there is cheering you on. You're backstage with your competitors and they're cheering you on. And it's a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, the powerlifting community is all absolutely like super supportive and everyone's really encouraging and wanting you to hit your PRs and them hit their PRs. And it's a really encouraging environment to be in. So We've talked about your job and we've talked about fitness. So let's talk about the third thing that's kind of like what your channel is based around is the food part. So how did you get into doing food challenges, food videos? And is that like your favorite aspect of your channel? Tell us a little bit about that.
Start with that part first. No, it is not at all. I would love to move away from being the food guy. At this point, it might be too late.
But
it's kind of like what people know me for at this point. But the reason I started making it such a big emphasis on the channel is because I was getting countless emails about people that really struggled with their relationship with food. And before starting the channel, I didn't know that it was that widespread of a problem. I never really surrounded myself with competitors or people that were into fitness like I was. And I've been very lucky in the fact that I've never really struggled with it. I've definitely always had a big appetite. I think back in the day, I probably got onto the clean eating thing, but I found Lane Norton very quickly when I got into this. So I've always known about tracking macros. This is going to make me sound old, but when I was in college, I was tracking macros on an Excel spreadsheet. There was no MyFitnessPal. I didn't even have.
Hey, it's still pretty new.
Yeah. I didn't even have like an iPhone. So like BlackBerry didn't have these.
Yeah.
So luckily, I kind of learned very quickly from a lot of people with a lot more information than I could ever give anyone else. But what I found is people really struggled with this. And I think it was twofold. One, people didn't have the right information. So especially still fitness is very niche. There's a lot of people that still don't even know what tracking macros is. They don't know about flexible dieting. So I found some of those people. And I also found some people that knew about it, but just struggled with it. So what I try to really preach to people, try not to sound too preachy, but try to get the message across that you don't have to hit your macros 100% of the time to stay on track to obtain your physique goals. And I'm talking for the average person here. If you're in competition prep for any type of physique based sport, you got to be spot on once you get on stage, because that's what you're being judged on. You're being judged on your physique. But for the everyday person, you can go out and you can have these quote unquote cheat meals, free meals, whatever you want to call them, and you're going to be perfectly fine. I think the issue is restricting yourselves from any type of food. If you say you'll never allow yourself to eat ice cream, and then for 2 years go by, you don't eat ice cream, and someone introduces it to you, I can almost guarantee you're going to take one bite and you're going to eat that entire container. You're just going to go binge out. And there's nothing healthy about that. In my mind, the only thing that's sustainable and the only thing that's healthy is having it in moderate quantities.
Right. So the premise of like the food videos is essentially just for entertainment purposes, of course, because you're an entertainer. You like doing the editing process and everything like that. But it's not necessarily because you just want to eat all this food. You just want to get the good message across for people to have a comfortable relationship with food, because you do your tracking or what have you 6 out of 7 days of the week, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the food challenges, maybe I'll pick a Sunday and I'll do a food challenge. The most common comment that I get is, how are you not obese? How do you not gain a bunch of weight? And I've done countless video on it, over and over. But I mean, the fact is just, doing these from time to time, and now that they have been like weekly, that frequency is too high. Like, you should not be doing a food challenge every single week. I am there to entertain. I'll be very honest in saying that brings in the biggest audience. Those are my most viewed videos, which is a huge driving factor. Right. There's no way I would be going out to McDonald's and doing a full menu challenge if I did not have a YouTube channel. I know it sounds great at the time to some people, but trust me, there's nothing that feels great about eating the entire breakfast menu at McDonald's. Trust me.
Is that your least favorite food challenge that you've done? The McDonald's one?
It's got to be up there.
What are the top 3 least favorite ones?
Top 3
Are they your highest viewed videos?
Yeah, my highest viewed. I guarantee you, like, the top 5 of my videos, top 5 viewed, have something to do with fast food. I don't know what. I think it's one of those things that people are like, I should never eat fast food. So when I see this guy eating tons of it, it makes me feel a little bit better about myself or something. Like, my most viewed video, I think, has like 800,000 views, and it's literally me going from like fast food place to fast food place to fast food place.
I checked them out last night. Your highest viewed videos. It was like the McDonald's food challenge and like the 15,000 calorie dream cheat day ones. And like, those don't seem super fun and exciting for you to do personally, but people like to watch them.
No, yeah. You know? And I'm not gonna lie and say it's not fun to eat great foods, but when you're eating them in those quantities, like, you just feel like crap. And maybe it would be fun if you're doing one, but after doing so many of them, and I think what people need to realize is that there's nothing good about trying to eat 15,000 calories in a day. And I try to put disclaimers in the video. And it's really like, I think that one was when I hit a milestone. So you get so many comments, people want to see it. Of course, you're, as a creator, a sucker for the views. You know it's going to do well. And I definitely fall into that trap. But like I said, I think I bring it upon myself to be known as the food guy, because at the end of the day, what I really try to do is leverage my food videos to bring people into because I usually release the food video on like a Sunday morning. So I try to leverage those videos to grasp an audience and bring them in during my weekday videos, which are my vlog type videos, which is like more life advice, career advice, normal type of meals, things where I get macro friendly recipes and stuff like that. So that's kind of the strategy that I've used to grow my channel. And I would say most of the growth can be attributed to food challenges. Yeah,
that's pretty cool that you like have that kind of structure where you bring in the audience to kind of clickbait them or kind of just have them come to the channel, and then you have a really good message to bring across to the channel throughout the rest of the week or through the end of the video. Maybe at the end of the video you make the disclaimer and talk about food relationships and stuff. So I think that's super cool.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident that my content can actually provide value. The food challenges, not so much, but the other like vlog type of videos, I think that they really can, which is why I make such a push to try to bring in a larger audience. And as a creator, you're always going to want your work to be seen. And really at the end of the day, you can spend 5 hours making a video, and really that whole video, the spread of that video is going to be based on your thumbnail and your title. So you think you get to that point,
and you find that the thumbnail and the title is incredibly important to bring viewers to the channel.
I would say the most important. Yeah, I'd go as far to say the most important thing.
And it's your responsibility for that clickable clickbait thumbnail, title, or whatever to have the really good value content within the video for people to continue to watch.
Yeah. And I think viewers definitely get upset about when they think something is clickbait. But what I always try to tell people is I'm confident that once you get into the video, the content will be there. Like, I can see if you get clickbaited into a video and it's just crap, it just doesn't do anything for you. But I'm very confident in that if you come to the video, you're going to get a little bit of what was in the title. You'll get the gist of it. Like, that's what got you in, that exciting aspect. But there's going to be something in there that you can actually get some value out of.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like appreciate that thought process. I'm sure a lot of people don't really understand that about YouTube or YouTube videos or titles, thumbnails, all of that. So I think that's a really good value to bring to this interview here. One question I did have is, how do you go about recovering from a food challenge, like the next day? Like, what do you do to kind of get back to normalcy?
The one thing I always recommend to people is if you do, maybe it's not even a food challenge, maybe you just go over your macros, or you have like a cheat day, cheat meal, whatever. Do not restrict yourself the next day, because what I found is that is going to kind of create the wrong relationship with food, in most cases. So what I have found is that when I say restrict yourself, I mean fight off when you're hungry, if you should in fact be eating like a certain macronutrient range. So I find that I'm not hungry that next day. So I'm not going to force myself to eat if I'm not hungry. I mean, I usually do go into a pretty high deficit that next day because I just do not want to eat, which is fine with me. I think that I'm not going to force myself to eat just to hit my normal macros when I know that the day before it was just extravagant. But I would say if you're someone that struggles with your relationship with food, don't have one of those days, go into the next day, be extreme and starve yourself, essentially, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. No, I find that really interesting. That's a good tip to bring to people to share with everybody, because I think going back from trying to recover from overeating or binging or whatever that you're doing is doing a food challenge, and the next day a lot of people really struggle with it mentally. So I think that's really important to bring. One other thing I wanted to ask is that in your videos, you spend a lot of time on music, right? So music is really important to you in your videos, and you said that you used to create music in the past?
So yeah, music is, I would say, the number one inspiration for my videos. Like, I will hear a song and I'll be like, I'm going to make a video based off this theme because this song inspired me. And that's, I think, the biggest tip I have for anyone creating a YouTube video is find what inspires you. Music is not going to be that for everyone. I think, actually, I just recorded a clip today, or this morning. I was urging people to find what inspires you, because for me, it's location, people, and music. Those are the three things I know are going to inspire my videos, because I found when I got hurt that I got in a rut. I wasn't creating interesting videos. I was just kind of in my feelings a little bit. I was just down, and I needed to find something that inspired me. So this trip, I mean, it just lit a fire under me, and this has been, it's been phenomenal being out here, being with you, being able to see the different things, different cultures. But back to your music aspect. Yeah, I used to, I don't know that I'd call it music. I used to create something with a beat and words, I guess. But yeah, I've always
words. Something, maybe a song, maybe not.
Right. I would not give it that much credit.
Oh, that's funny.
But it's definitely like, I would say music is something that I mean, I think everyone loves music, right? But I would say my interest in music goes to a whole other level. I would not make YouTube videos if I could not include music. It's that extreme. I feel like my videos, a lot of them are built on certain music. And as a YouTube creator, it becomes challenging, as you know, with the copyright issues, which
the audience might not know. So how do you go about finding music that's not copyrighted, but that's also something you really connect with and makes it for a really good video?
It's a struggle, because a lot of the songs that click with me are songs that have copyright on them, unfortunately. I am with a partnership program. For anyone that doesn't know, if you're with a partnership program, they give you certain perks. For me, the only perk I receive from my partnership program personally is the royalty-free music. So they give you a bank of music that you can use in videos without getting copyright claims. In return, they take a percentage of your ad revenue, and that varies from creator to creator depending on your contract. Some creators will opt out of that because they want to keep all their ad revenue on their videos, which is fine. For me personally, is worth every penny if they can give me quality music. I will give you the warning, if anyone out there is thinking about a partnership program, that sometimes the music isn't that good. And it's definitely not the best, right?
Not the mainstream music that you hear on the radio, with the cool remixes or whatever.
No, it's definitely not. It's not The Weeknd.
It's not The Weeknd.
But you make do with what you have. And then also back to my my somewhat music days, I still know people that make music, and I'm fortunate enough to have them provide me with their music. So I still have friends that are doing it, which is nice.
That's really helpful, and it helps them get exposure too as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you guys reach out to people on SoundCloud that are making music, and you tell them, if you have, it doesn't even matter what your audience is. Maybe you only have 100 subscribers, but you say, hey, can I use a song that you made, and we will credit you in the either description or put you on the screen, because then it's a win-win, that you're drawing traffic to their site, you're getting to use their music. So I know a lot of creators do that as well.
Yeah, I actually do that too. It's super helpful for both parties at the same time, and everybody gets exposure, and you get good videos and that person gets exposure. So it's a really helpful tip for sure.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins. So let's cycle back to the food videos really quick. I did want to ask you one thing, because you and I really relate on this. What is your favorite thing to eat or make food videos about? Because McDonald's probably the best thing. What's the best thing you've eaten and made people to watch?
So, okay.
This is getting emotional.
Yeah, this is...
He's like building up the courage to talk about it because it's so passionate.
Yeah, oh man.
Oh man.
So the best thing I haven't made, of course, is... Let's do this. Let's break it down into subcategories here. Okay. The best, healthified recipe, I call it, macro-friendly recipe that I have personally made is like the healthified Pizookie. The Pizookie from BJ's Brewhouse, to me, is one of the best desserts of all time, ever.
Agreed.
So having that is definitely not as good, but I don't think you'd be disappointed, especially if you're on poverty macros. So that's the best thing I've made healthy-wise. The best thing that I've made that hasn't been health-wise, does a cookie sandwich count?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I didn't make the chocolate chip cookies. I layered chocolate chip cookies with Trader Joe's cookie butter.
I watched that video and I died.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's an actual recipe, but yeah, it was pretty great.
Okay.
The best thing that I've ever had, it might be like the recency bias, but some of that stuff we had yesterday was was unreal.
This is true.
That chocolate chip cookie was one of the best that I've had.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, but again, it could be the recency bias. And so I forgot when I went to Vegas, I went to with Guy. What's his last name?
Guy Fieri.
Yeah. So I went to his restaurant and I
Okay.
had this. I think it was like a burrito. It's like a quesarito essentially. It was like the best burrito.
What's a quesarito?
So it has like it's a burrito, but there's like a quesadilla as the burrito.
Oh my god.
You never had one from Chipotle?
No.
It's like the secret menu of Chipotle.
Oh my gosh, I have to go.
We've got to introduce you to this.
Damn.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Quesarito.
Yeah.
That sounds epic. Okay.
Yeah, like if you go to Chipotle and order, most people will know what you're talking about. And the other people will
And
get
it's a
you.
secret menu item?
I don't even.
It's just like not listed on the board.
Yeah,
Up
I
on the
didn't even
top.
know it was a secret.
Uh-huh.
See, I thought everybody knew, but apparently not.
So how did you know about it the first time you ordered it?
Who knows? Because
Who knows? It was all a blur.
I probably dreamt it. You know, maybe I just created it. Maybe I went in, I had them
Maybe.
create it, and then it spread from there. Maybe it's in one of the food challenges. Maybe I just I made it widespread.
Hey, that's awesome.
I doubt that. No. So Vegas has some unreal food as well.
Yeah, Vegas has some awesome food.
Anything out west, I would say, is the best food that I've had.
And you coming from Ohio, you just like prefer being out west.
Yeah.
There's a lot more cool food here.
Because in the Midwest, like where I'm at, I mean, you're not by an ocean, so you're not going to get like fresh seafood. I'm sure if you went maybe Rhode Island, maybe
Yeah.
has some really fresh seafood.
Rhode Island has a lot of really good, they're like known for their fresh seafood, yeah.
Yeah.
It's called
So
the Ocean State.
right. So I'm sure that maybe if I went out there, but I've spent some time in New York. I will say New York has some amazing food as well.
Yeah.
But still thinking back to yesterday, it's got to be even to me. In-N-Out is one of my tops.
Gotcha. Very cool. I appreciate your opinion. So what are you doing now and where can people find you?
People can find me at youtube.com/business and fitness, or if you just
That's what your
Yeah.
YouTube business and fitness. I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah, catchy. And then if you just type in Travis S in the search bar, I will come up. As of now, it's
Other
just
social medias, do you use it?
so it's just TRAVS 1429. Every social media platform, Snapchat, Instagram,
Cool.
whatever the kids are using these days.
Whatever the kids are using.
Try to stay hip. And other than that, just kind of taking it day by day. Still trying to grow the YouTube channel. Still trying to progress in my career and find balance for all that.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being on the podcast today, Travis. And I will catch you guys in the next podcast. Thank you for listening to Bucci Radio.